Filming take 2, this time with my microphones turned on. We're going to be working on an area that I think is sometimes overlooked in a well-rounded practice. Until, of course, we start experiencing pain or worse, we get injured. And that's what's going on in our wrists, our hands, and our forearms. So we're going to work together on ways to strengthen this area, especially if you desire to work your way into handstands, arm balances, or a pose like wheel that requires a lot of flexion for our hands. We'll work on our mobility and flexibility, and we'll end with a little bit of deep tissue work to really break up any adhesions that might be in there. This is designed to be a follow-along format that you can do on its own or maybe tack on to the beginning or the end of another practice. So if you're with me, you won't need any props. Let's get to work. As we get started, it's important that you get that nice long spine. So if you are on a chair or a sofa, just come right to the edge of it and lengthen up out of the pelvis. Hands are going to interlace and begin a little circular churn, or what feels like a figure 8. Try to keep those elbows stitched nice and close into your body, and that'll help isolate the movement of the wrist. We're just going to start with a little warm up, and then we'll work into some elements to strengthen our forearms. Reverse the direction. And keep the fingers close together. We're just going to work on interlacing in the more awkward way, including the thumbs, and now come back into your figure 8s. And if this feels awkward or clunky, I want you to practice it more often. It's actually really good for your brain. Reverse the direction, try to smooth out those circles. Press them away, extend through the creases of your elbows as you sit tall, push your palms out, and then keep the interlace. I want you to lift the right elbow, flexion and extension of the wrist, and on the left side, and just smooth out that circle, one to the other. Wrist injuries is something that is very up close and personal for me. I had about 3 years of pain. I couldn't even do table pose without pain. Reverse the direction. We're going to go left to right. I had 3 different doctors diagnose me with carpal tunnel syndrome, and I just felt intuitively that it was not that. I felt it was more of an alignment issue. Let's come back to center. Come back into your original way, right? The original way that we interlace, right to left. Finally, I had a PT traction my shoulder, and then I woke up the next morning and the pain was gone. So I recommend, if there is something going on, to definitely get it looked at. Sometimes we need more than one reverse directions. Sometimes we need more than one opinion. And of course, we don't want to move into pain. So really pay attention to the actions as we move through our class together. Last time, press away, elbows straight, palms are extending outwards. And just give a little shake of those hands. We're going to start with a flexed palm, bring it out to the horizon. It's a point and flex, or flexion and extension. Fingers are wide as you do this, and just pump the wrists up and down. Try to keep those shoulders relaxed. You're lengthening up and out of the waist. 5, 4, 3, 2, come up with your wrists, right? I'm flexing towards the ceiling, and I want you to take your fingers and try to pump them towards your head, right? I'm pushing my palms away, and I'm trying to retract and pull my fingers towards me. Keep a nice spread of the fingers. You're gonna feel a burning start to build in the forearms. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. You're gonna come down, and now you're gonna pump in with your fingers towards your body from this angle. Again, we're just trying to build some heat Also, we're going to begin to build a little more muscle in those forearms. 5, 4, 3, 2, up into your flex, and you're going to pump back in again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, feeling the burn, 4, 3, 2, last one, just relax. Oh, just give them a little shake. Let's come into that circular churn, just interlace, give me a circle. Both directions. Interlace in your awkward way. So moral of my injury story is we tend to fixate on where our pain is, my wrist, but for many of us, we need to look above and below. So if the kinetic chain of the shoulder is off, you could be experiencing pain that's dumping into the wrist. So if you're pronated like me, shoulders roll in, then we might need to look at that as part of why you're experiencing pain. All right, one more time, I want you to flex out. We're gonna press, and we're just gonna start with a little roll of the fingers. So pinky towards index. And you're just gonna make a slow action there. So I almost think of a little cartoon character telling me to kind of come hither. And then let's go in the opposite direction. I'm gonna go from the index to the pinky. Index, pinky. Slow, controlled. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Let's tuck your thumb in and grab into a little fist and come back into our points and our flexes. Again, you're gonna feel that sense of stretching through the tendons in the forearms, across the knuckles. It's a good thing, we need that. 5, 4, 3, 2, you're gonna come into your pulses. I want you to pull back towards your head with your little fist. 5, 4, 3, 2, underneath, curl under, in, right? So I'm feeling that on the forearm. 5, 4, 3, 2, slow circular churns, deliberate, circle, circle. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, I want you to reverse, slow and deliberate. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice and slow on the release. Like you've got water on there, shake them out. Let's begin with the right arm. I want you to extend it out in front of you and bring your fingers towards the floor. Left hand is gonna come towards the inside of the hand here, so I'm just gonna press against the index finger side. Elbow is straight, and I want you to push your right hand into your left hand and create resistance. And then swap out. I'm gonna go towards the pinky side and press. We're just gonna go back and forth a couple times here. I'm not hyperextending the elbow. There is a very, very soft bend here. Extend, or I should say press to the left and press to the right. Once more each side, I'm pressing out. 4, 3, 2, and switch. I find muscles that I forgot that I had when I do this type of stuff. Make that little fist. I'm gonna wrap the thumb, little circles out to the side, right? As you extend towards the right, I want you to pull down, and I just want you to look towards the left. Keep pushing that fist away from you. And then ear to ceiling. So right ear lifts towards ceiling. And release, come back to center. Left side is gonna extend, hand comes down. I'm gonna come to the inside, active pressure. Left is pushing into right. Arm is straight, right? I'm not locking out through that elbow. Come to the inside, I'm pressing out with the left. Just make resistance. And again, inside. And outside. Let's do one more. Inside, 4, 3, 2, and swap. press. Push out and away. 3, 2, and 1. Thumb's gonna tuck, little rolls out to the side, sit tall. Come directly out from the shoulder, pull down. So I'm gonna create that curling of the wrist. Look towards the right as you push through the left. We wanna begin to open up through the tendons all the way into the forearm. Tilt the ear towards the shoulder, look forward. And relax. Okay, we're gonna begin to take our practice up onto hands and knees, but before we get there, I wanna talk about our hands in relation to the floor. So I want you to bring your hands together, fingers will touch. And I want you to push your palms together. This feels very unnatural and forced in my opinion. What I want you to do is I want you to create a softness here. So all the fingertips are gonna press together. Keep the base of your palms touching, and you're gonna notice a little bowing action of the fingers, right? So I'm feeling this little cupping action where I have a little bit of space here. Our hand has a natural arch, similar to our foot, right? And the arch in our foot creates a little bit of shock absorber and protection for our foot and our foundation. So I want you to look forward and see if you could find a little keyhole right at the base of your wrists as they touch. And also we have the inner arch of the hand. So we've got these bowed fingers, and we've also got that little bowed arch action in the wrist. This is the same action we want to use in table. So go ahead and climb forward onto our hands and knees. And just go ahead and try to press all 5 fingers of each hand down and just kind of notice how this feels. I've got a lot of compression going on across the front of the wrist here. Now I want you to focus on that action of, think of almost palming a basketball. So I'm gonna grip the floor with my fingers, and you'll notice there's a little bit of space here, and there is action. So if I went to lift the finger, right, if I walked up to you onto your mat, it would flick right down to the mat. So you have strong active fingers. There is space underneath my palm. And I want you to draw attention here, index to thumb. This pressure on the inside is gonna help set the forearm safely, but then we need to focus on an external rotation. So how do I know you're in good form? The crease of the elbow points forward. So it is an external rotation of the shoulder. And like me, pronated shoulders, they tend to look at each other versus forward. So I just want you to be mindful as you come into these poses, what's going on right there. Now that I have you in this position, let's go ahead and take a circular churn. I want you to work your range of motion, nice, active through all 10 fingers. And reverse the direction. Just kind of feeling, see how this goes. I have one wrist that has very limited range of motion from that old injury and from the shoulder. And I just need to honor the fact that it's not quite where I want it to be right now. But in time, I know I can improve. Just come forward and back. Active through those fingers. I want you to come as far forward that feels comfortable to you. Right? We may not be able to come up and over the wrists. Last time. As you come back to center, go ahead and tuck your toes if you can tolerate sitting back on those heels. Just take a moment to roll the wrists here, see how they're doing. And resume that table position and walk your hands about the distance of your mat. We're gonna turn them out. So external rotation. All 10 fingers are doing their little pawing action. You could almost think of a little gecko paw here. I'm gonna kind of squeeze my fingertips into the floor. And then I'm just gonna take a nice little rock from side to side. Now we can deepen this by beginning to walk our hands a little closer towards center. This is one of those areas where I really need to honor my range of motion. On one side is not what I'd like it to be. So move to your edge and don't overdo it. I'm very guilty of overdoing some of these stretches and paying for it for the next couple days where it's just really sore and tender. Come back to center and begin to rotate those hands back. Fingers are nice and wide right underneath those shoulders. External rotation, right? Pressing through the thumb and the index finger. I want you to focus on lifting just the base of your palm. I'm going to start with the left and try to lift the base of the hand, but fingers stay on the floor. We're going to try to do a little lifting action for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, switching to your right side, peel and lift. This does get better over time. We just need to continue to practice. If this is something that you think you need to work on, here it is for you. 5, 4, 3, 2. We're going to do one more set. Left side comes up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and to the right for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Go ahead and hinge back. I'm going to tuck those toes for extra credit and get a nice stretch on my heels, if you can tolerate that. I want you to tuck your thumbs in and just give me a nice little rotation here. Try to let the work go. Both directions. And you're going to hinge back, hips to heels. And I want you to take this stretch from here. So I want the back of my hand to come to the floor. And I'm just going to create what feels like first a downward action, hand into floor, and a gentle pulling action, like I'm trying to pull the hand towards me, but obviously it's not because it's tacked to the floor. I just want you to try pulling forward with your body, downward with your hand, and try curling and extending the fingers. Take a couple rounds of this little pump with your hands, see how it goes. Now you can progress this by trying to curl the fingers and then curl the wrist in. So I'm going to try to extend and go a little bit deeper now, curling up with your wrist and then down with the fingers. 5, nice and slow. 4, push into the floor. 3, 2, last one for this. Let's see if we can just do a brief pause. I'm going to try to come to my end range and hold. And then really gently to release. That feels so good in like the worst way. I need to do it more often. Second side. Hips to heels. You're gonna hinge forward. I want that weight to be behind you. Press down into the ground and just a little drag forward with your arm. Start with the little curl of the fingers. We're just gonna see how that goes. If you're ready for the progression, I want you to try to curl your wrist in, extend the fingers, curl the wrist in. 5, try not to rush, pause and end range. 4, 3, 2, last one to hold here. I'm just going to try to really curl in the best as I can. Gentle pressure into the floor. And release. Give that wrist a little roll. We're going to do one more weight bearing in our table position. And of course, work with our progressions. I want the weight to be more in your heels, but come up onto your hands here. Palms are going to face the ceiling. Try bending your elbows out to the side. And as you straighten, give a little rotation back into that forward, right? So crease of the elbow forward. Remembering the weight is more behind you than on your hands. Rotate elbows forward and bend down. For 3, nice and slow. 2. Now as you come up, I'm just gonna try to do a couple curls of the fingers. Gentle pressures on the hands, keep the weight in the legs. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, curl nice and slow, unravel, and onto a seat. I'm hoping you're starting to feel a little more alive in these forearms. All right, I want you to get comfortable on your seat or on the floor. We're gonna get started with your right side, and you've probably seen this stretch before, but we're gonna try to incorporate a little bit of active flexibility. And what I mean by that is we're going to try to engage the muscles while they're in a lengthened state. Right arm extends, including the elbow, and just start with the pinky. So I'm gonna just gently pull the pinky back towards me, and then I'm gonna try to push the pinky back into the fingers. Just 20% engagement, just a gentle push back. It completely changes the sensation, right? So I'm gonna gently pull, but then I'm gonna give a little push back. So ring finger pushes back in. And each one gets this, right? Nice, maybe a 2-3 second hold at end range. Think of all the times that we're texting, typing, driving, right? We need to consistently try to lengthen through the forearm, right, in the tendons. For the thumb, I'm going to grab the thumb and think of pulling it towards the forearm itself. So I'm trying to draw back fingers towards the floor, nice and wide. And then just gently give it a little roll. Let's move right to that second side. Arm is extended and we push back, right? So make sure we're open through the elbows, fingers are flared. Gentle push back with the pinky. And find your way to each finger. Make sure your shoulder is relaxed, it's not hiking up or getting tense on you. I need to do this all the time. Press and extend, just that gentle push back. Right thumb, I'm gonna wrap around the thumb and focus on trying to draw it towards the forearm. Fingers are pointing towards the floor. And release. Okay, let's go back to side one. So I'm gonna take my thumb and I'm gonna tuck it and make a little fist. It is a forward and down action. So to deepen this, I'm gonna take a nice grip with the left on the right, and I'm gonna pull up with the left as I draw down with the right. You can take a couple rounds, just moving back and forth here. You can also use the floor and you'll go a lot deeper. So I'm gonna roll my knuckles on the floor. So I'm providing a little bit of pressure down, and I'm also gonna try that same sense of dragging up with the left. So if you could find a spot that's nice and deep and hold with me. And nice and slow, just let that wrist breathe and open. We're gonna take a same or a similar bind. I'm just gonna wrap my left on my right. I'm underneath my little protruding bones here. I'm on the forearm. And I want you to make a little duck beak. So I want you to make a little duck beak with your fingers. I'm gonna pull my duck beak towards the floor, pull back with the left, and then just try to rotate out towards the right. So I'm dragging with the left, pulling the fingers to the right. Are you finding stretches you didn't know we needed? And release. Second side, let's grab that thumb and pull up as you extend down. Just do a couple rounds here, just kind of exploring, and then if you wanted to use the floor, you can start using the floor. So this really adds that extra sense of tack and pull. One more breath. And let it breathe. We're gonna make our duck beak, right? So turn your duck beak down, grab on. I'm gonna pull down and across, right? Now I'm dragging back with the right. Keep trying to pull these fingers to the left. Right, the more I squeeze my fingers together, the deeper this is. One more breath. And gently release. Okay, we're getting there, guys. To finish all of our work, we're gonna do our deep tissue work. So we'll begin with the right. If you can, put your fingers on the floor. If that's a bit much, just to come into an extension, fingers point towards the floor. I'm gonna use my left thumb here. Let's start at the top. I'm gonna come to the inside of the elbow. And I'm just gonna try to really gently draw a circle. I'm just gonna kind of start moving things around. Try both directions. Now for those of you who do a lot of climbing, right, this is not just golfer's elbow. Golfer's elbow comes on the inside of the crease, or as the outside would be tennis elbow. This is not just golfers, right? I am an aerialist, or at least I try to be. But as soon as I take a break and I come back to it, I get golfer's elbow. Now I want you to just do a gentle pull up. And then you can try massaging down. But I do suggest taking the pull up, right, towards the heart. That's that we want to draw always towards the heart. So as you draw down with your little massage, just end with a lifting action towards the heart. And then I want you to do a couple little circles here on the outside. I'm just doing a little squeeze and release on the outside of that elbow. Down the arm, squeeze and release. All right, and pull towards the heart. And just gently release. That was quite deep. I want you to take your right arm out to the side. This is going to finish our work. I want you to internally rotate. So you're feeling that shoulder head kind of roll forward. I actually like to take a little claw here. So imagine you had a tennis ball in your hand and you kind of curled it under. Roll forward. You're going to feel a huge stretch on the outside of the arm here. The more I make that weird claw shape, the more I feel. Now you can go deeper by adding a little bit of a fascial pulling technique. I'm going to take my palm to the flesh across my chest. So I'm right where that little valley is, where the shoulder ends, and then it kind of dips into where the chest is. As I roll forward, with the shoulder, and I've got my little claw out there, I'm going to try to just drag across my chest. Look away from our work. I'm going to look to the left as I pull to the right, and do that at least 3 times. I'm going to extend and drag across. You want to tack your fingers to your flesh. Last time. Oh, God, release, shake it out. Second side, right? So if you can put your fingers on the floor, so be it, not necessary. We did a little circular churn to start. I'm gonna go right around that elbow. We're just looking for tender points, sensitivities. Sometimes our issues come from adhesions, like locked up areas of tendons, tightening from being overworked, right? Golfer's elbow, mowing the lawn, gardening. Both directions with that circle. And then just try to make a couple little rounds down. I'm just gonna kind of explore. As you come down, then I want you to try to extend and pull towards you. So right, we're just gonna make a couple little massages down. And then there's a lengthening up towards the heart. Last time. And onto that outer edge. I like to do some squeezes and releases. And kind of work down that outside of the arm. And then upward action. Release. Let's make that little claw. So I'm gonna make this really unattractive claw. Imagine you're holding a ball in your hand. I'm gonna draw it underneath me. Shoulder rolls forward. All right, so just do a couple of these first, see how it goes. You could try looking away even now, see how you feel. That really will intensify it the more I look away from the rolling shoulder. If you want to come into your fascial pull here, so I'm right across the pectorals here, pec major. I'm going to curl down and in and across. Use that tacking of the flesh to draw across. Give me at least 2 more. And release your work. Bring this into some nice, easy circular churns, just letting all the work go. I'm hoping that you felt that in your wrists and forearms, because I certainly did. Not just because I had to film it twice. This channel offers content like this, as well as yoga and conditioning, a little bit of aerial work too. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this. Hands together. Namaste.